Hey everyone, welcome to your full moon lunar eclipse Tarotscopes or horoscopes for your lunar full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which we have on May 5th. We're going to talk all about it and how you can make the most of it. Hello, Murphy's Pool. Nice to see you, and you're first in line. Dixie, Normus, nice to see you as well. I hope you're all having a great day and a great Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday. So let's talk all about this lunar eclipse that we have coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll get you all settled for that. So let's just talk a little bit about how this lunar eclipse differs from our solar eclipse that we had last week. So your lunar eclipses, the one that we're going to have on May 5th, are associated with inner awakening. So it's an inner thing as opposed to a external thing like the solar eclipses that we have. So this inner awakening may be followed by, and remember, this is for the next 6 months. This isn't like going to happen on May 5th necessarily. Something could internally start happening even before the eclipses, but it takes 6 months for them to play out. So lunar eclipses are associated with an inner awakening followed by endings, emotional intensity, especially because this one is in Scorpio, and the release of pent-up energy. They're often seen as a time of letting go of old patterns, especially because it's in Scorpio, habits or relationships that no longer serve you. Lunar eclipses are also said to have a strong impact on your emotional state, and you may experience heightened emotions during this time. Under a full moon, irrespective of it being a lunar eclipse, we experience heightened emotions, and this one is in Scorpio, so have an outlet. And remember, we're going to talk about this, but it is Mercury retrograde, so don't go Scorpio ballistic on anyone. Unless, this has been building, I would just be careful because Mercury is retrograde and you can't unring a bell. So cool it down, cool it now. I think that New Edition had said that a long time ago. So cool it now or cool it down. Is it cool it now? I'm not quite sure, but you catch my drift. The solar eclipse that we had last week, solar eclipses are associated with external changes. New beginnings, transformation, growth. They're often seen as a time for starting new projects, pursuing new goals, or making major life changes. Again, they're going to play out over the next 6 months. Solar eclipses are also said to have a strong impact on your personal power and self-expression. You may have already felt a surge of confidence or creativity with the solar eclipse that we had last week. That's pretty cool, right? Really cool indeed. Let's see here. Yo, Pam, nice to see you. Happy Friday, Regan. Nice to see you. Murphy's Pool, you're so kind. Thank you for catching me live, and thank you for your super chat. Much appreciated. Sin, nice to see you, Sin. I just got an alert that you were on. Finally, alert's working. Well, I'm so glad too, Sin. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And you do well under a Scorpio moon. You certainly do. Yep, we're all going to do well because we're going to talk all about it. You had a cool down 2 days ago. Well, I'm glad you did. And you got a surge of creativity the week before. I love it. Well, more to come with that for sure. For sure. So this lunar eclipse is going to be at 14 degrees Scorpio, but in the very late 14. So it's like 14 degrees, I think, in like 57 seconds. So you want to see where you have 14 degrees or 15 degrees of Scorpio in your astrological chart. There's plenty of resources online that will help you to determine which astrological house 14, 15 degrees is in. And that's where you're going to see these changes. So the Sabian symbol for 15 degrees Scorpio is children playing around 5 mounds of sand. So what does this mean? There's lots of interpretations with these Sabian symbols. I would take from this, it's a matter of this lunar eclipse is going to give us an opportunity to determine who we really are without the pretense. Scorpio is very, very, very honest and true. They almost have an inability to lie. Like if a Scorpio can't tell the truth and be honest, they'll usually keep silent. So there's a certain authenticity associated with Scorpio. So this is a time to determine who we really are. Further, a big part of Scorpio is following that which has heart and meaning. Heart and meaning. Scorpio, if you have Scorpio, for instance, on your earthy cusps, so your second house cusp, your sixth house cusp, or your 10th house cusp, your material issues in this world, how you make money, how you experience your day-to-day lifestyle, and your career or status, there's a certain level of emotionality. So you have to be emotionally connected to how you make money, to how you spend your day-to-day lifestyle, and how you contribute to the world. And then finally, it's really about how we can live free, right? And when we're living free, unencumbered by neuroses or anxiety or just feelings of self-consciousness, then you're able to live free and you allow your higher consciousness to take the wheel. And that's going to be really great because you're going to allow universal life force energy to flow through you. Everything's going to be easier. And you'll also feel better health-wise. So if we stay in the super conscious mind, our higher mind, right, we're not going to be in the vibration of germs or toxicity or dis-ease. So just keep that in mind. The Scorpio energy is really good for releasing toxicity, releasing anything that is negative. So that'll be really nice. So, oh, I see. You couldn't lie as a kid. You have Scorpio in your chart. You can now, but I get caught easily. Yeah, I think a lot of us were really good at lying as children, and then as we grow older and we don't really have to lie, it becomes it's a skill that we lose, which is probably a good thing. So one of the big aspects this lunar eclipse is Mercury retrograde, of course. So let's just talk about Mercury retrograde and how that fits in. So Mercury retrograde is in Taurus until May 14th. This retrograde in particular could help us find practical solutions for transformation. You may hear from old relatives, friends, people coming out of the woodwork. That's typical under the retrograde. But because it's in Taurus, this retrograde might reunite you with people that you had shared values with before. So think institutions, the people that you had gone to school with before. There's something that brought you together, the people that you had worked with before, the people that you had prayed with before, and the churches that you were in. You know, Taurus has to do with institutions and shared values. So those people that you had shared values with before, they may come to the forefront, and maybe that's going to give you an opportunity to determine how your values may have changed over the years. What's also cool, because this retrograde is in Taurus, you may find something valuable that you had thought was lost. Taurus rules possessions, things of value. So maybe give a look for anything that you may have thought was lost. It may be found. With retrogrades, it's a perfect universe. We tend to bitch and moan about them, but remember, it's a perfect universe. So the retrogrades come at a time when we're overloaded with information and we need to review and we need to reflect and we need to rest. Anything with the re prefix. So if you've had also any projects before that you had abandoned, now's a really great time to rework them. Again, that re prefix. Rework, revise, rest, reflect. Research is great under the retrograde. If you're working on a project and you need to do research for it, well, because Mercury is slower, or our communications are slower under the retrograde, it helps us to find things that we wouldn't otherwise have seen, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. How do you know if you have Scorpio in your chart? Okay, so we all have Scorpio in our chart. It might not be prominent. So what you would want to do is you would go online and you type in free astrological chart, right? You can do astro.com. There's so many, right? Find your time, date, and place of birth, punch that in, and you will actually see a chart. And then on the wheel of the chart, you'll see numbers most likely. And then you'll see a glyph that is reminiscent of Scorpio. I don't have the glyph on this chart, but it looks like an M with an arrow going outwardly. So think of an M with an arrow, and that's where Scorpio is. And then you would see what house it's in, and then you would do further research and or even look at this video and say, oh, okay, well, 9th house, 10th house, 1st house, etc. So yeah, that should help you figure it out, or even doing a little bit of research online. But you can still you don't need your time of birth. I mean, it's helpful, obviously. You know, even if you have a range, even if you can give yourself a range. I know I was born in the afternoon, between 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., for instance. So there are a few other aspects. This lunar eclipse, Venus is going to square Neptune. So Venus in Gemini square Neptune in Pisces can bring potential for unrealistic expectations and delusions. So Venus and Neptune together, it's sort of a mixed blessing. On the one hand, you can get really idealistic and very loving and compassionate. It's very much the energy of agape, unconditional, godlike love, right? With Venus and Neptune. But again, we might have rose-colored glasses. So you just want to look closely when choosing a partner or choosing a job if you have to around this time. Venus and Neptune are not very far-sighted. It's a matter, they have to look really closely when choosing things, because you have to look long term and really say, okay, well, this is lovely now, but what does this look like for the future? So it's important to read the fine print, not make any momentous decisions unless they've been building for some time. Venus square Neptune may also catalyze a chance to connect with your higher power. That's probably the best use of Venus square Neptune. And that's going to help you to become more open to your intuition and your spiritual guidance. That'll be cool. That will be cool indeed. We also have Venus sextiling Jupiter, which is really nice. So Venus in Gemini sextiling Jupiter in Aries is very lucky. Very lucky. Keep your eyes peeled for opportunities under this aspect over the next 6 months. Remember, this isn't just next week under that lunar eclipse, but you may feel it more intense during that time. But new opportunities to help you grow and expand, that's what Jupiter wants you to do. So Venus and Jupiter both bring blessings. So this is really nice. They're working in harmony with this sextile. This aspect also is likely to help us feel warm and happy and eager to feel those good feelings. Eager to share those good feelings. And this transit is also excellent for partying and making love. Whoa! So you get to make love over the next 6 months, more than usual, perhaps. It's good for also thinking big picture and determining the very best scenarios for every aspect of your life. So you always want to do that. You always want to look at, okay, well, what's the best case scenario? What would be awesome? And I think it's important to remember that we're sort of trained to, not expect too much and you won't get let down, or to prepare yourself for a problem, right? What's the worst case scenario that could happen? Well, you don't want to look at the worst case scenario, because then you're pre-paving it. You're sort of putting it out there. So instead, you want to think of as many different scenarios as possible that could work in your favor. For instance, say you want a job and you think this would be the best job in the world for you and make you feel over the moon happy that you got this job. Well, the universe might not want you to have the job because it's not for you. So you want to think, well, if I don't get this job, there's definitely going to be something better in place. So don't be too fixed, especially under Mercury retrograde, because again, we might not be seeing things really clearly. So let yourself follow your excitement and your bliss and go after that job or that relationship or that home, whatever it is that you want, but leave the door open for the universe to take the wheel and actually deliver to you what is for your highest good, right? So the universe is way smarter than us. We don't know what we don't know. So be open. Be open. Ooh, I love that idea, Sin. One of the ideas I've been working on is marrying my art with my poetry. It has turned out, I bet it has. That's really, really cool. So, Venus sextiling Jupiter is lovely. Pluto will also square Jupiter. So squares are a little bit awkward. Pluto in Aquarius squaring Jupiter in Aries, just because Pluto in Aquarius is in its early degrees and Jupiter in Aries is in its late degrees. Aries and Aquarius usually get along very well, but because of the degrees of these planets, there's a square. So a serious attitude toward goals and ambitions may emerge under this aspect. And the desire to grow or expand an endeavor may be strong. Power struggles with others may be possible. So you want to channel any competitive energies appropriately. I heard once you can be competitive or you can be creative, but it's really hard to be both simultaneously. I don't know. I haven't really tried that theory out, but it's worth a shot. So the pursuit of inner peace is going to calm your inner world. And that's going to result in more harmonious relations externally. So as within, so without, right? So what that means is, like, you can't be at peace within and experience disruptions or problems or conflicts outside of yourself. That's just not how life works. If you have these enemies within, you're going to find these enemies that you meet in your life, your external life, right? So everyone is a reflection of us. It's like our reality is ourselves pushed inside out. So if you want to have less conflict with people, you got to go inwardly and really look at how you can resolve and soothe any internal conflicts that you may have. And if you have peace within the self, well, that's just going to be shown to you externally, and you're going to have peace in your external environment with all the people that you engage with. That's pretty awesome, right? So enjoy that. Definitely want to have something to attack, most likely over the next few weeks, especially, but over the next 6 months, definitely have a plan. With Pluto square Jupiter, we're dealing with very, very strong energies. So you want to make sure that you're not killing, say, a flea with a sledgehammer. You want to make sure that your big energies and the power that you're going to be getting with these squares are put toward things that are bigger than you, right? So you're not imploding. Have something big that you want to accomplish. And then we have Mars squaring Chiron as well. So Mars in Cancer square Chiron in Aries. This may catalyze old traumas and buried feelings, especially because, again, this lunar eclipse is in Scorpio, and Scorpio does pertain to intensity and, by way of that, emotional trauma, right? So you may find certain things being catalyzed, and you want to work with them, and you want to be gentle with yourself, and you also don't want to give anybody the brunt of your own issues, right? So the urge to maintain comfort is strong. Prioritize self-care. This is a really great time to implement things to do in your day-to-day lifestyle that are soothing and helpful to you so that you feel as perfect as possible. Your expressions of anger may be indirect. Again, this is squaring, this is Mars in Cancer. Mars in Cancer, again, think Cancer is like the crab. They walk sideways. They don't confront something head on, which they get a lot of flack for. Some people might see it as manipulative or passive aggressive. So you want to watch out for that. And that's because Cancer is so sensitive that they they move sideways, right? So have some healthy outlets in place with your, if you have anything that gets stirred up. It's also a good idea to consider where you need healing and what activities you can implement over the next 6 months that are not only practical and exciting, but conducive to your overall healing and growth. So maybe it's yoga, or maybe it's Tai Chi, or maybe it's journaling. Let's see here. Oh, that's what is going on with me. Chiron in my chart is with groups and associations. So you have Chiron on the 11th. And I'm getting hit with that area lately. Okay, well, wherever we have Chiron, we have to sort of overcompensate. And we have, everybody has Chiron someplace. So Chiron is the wounded healer. And the good news is that it is a past life thing because you're born with it. So if you have Chiron in your chart in the 12th house, there's a subconscious trauma, right? Most likely in the 12th house. The 12th house is really interesting. It actually shows what was going on with your mom when you were in her belly. So if a mother is pregnant and she smokes a cigarette, she shares that cigarette with the child, right? But also, if a mother's going through trauma or anxiety or any kind of pain, or she's really, really happy and pleased and elated, well, that also is going to be shared with the child. So that would be an example of Chiron in the 12th house if she was going through issues. If you have Chiron in the 11th, it's about there's a certain pain or woundedness when it comes to groups or friends, or even your hopes, dreams, wishes, and ideals. So find Chiron in your chart and overcompensate. You actually can make Chiron a strength wherever you have Chiron. It's the wounded healer. So it's where we're wounded, and where we're wounded, they say it's the crack where the light can pour through. And where we have that woundedness, we can actually heal other people. So that will help you actually in professional endeavors too. So again, this eclipse is at 14 degrees Scorpio, really close to 15. So find out where that is in your chart. And that's where you're going to be experiencing more of an inner awakening that is then going to result in other changes. So let's go through this and see what is likely to be experienced. So Aries, this lunar eclipse is hitting your 8th. It's really good for anything involving material goods. Remember, the sun right now is transiting your 2nd house, right? So there's a light that's being shown on your materiality, the material side of your life, your possessions, your money, your values. And with this lunar eclipse, there's the balance there with other people's resources, what other people bring to you. It's a transformative period involving sex, death, or taxes, right? Sex doesn't necessarily mean the act of sex. It could be your sexual organs. It could be an awareness of the sexual concept. And death also doesn't necessarily mean a literal death. It could also involve the death of an outdated idea or a situation. So you can begin anew. So in order to have a new beginning, you got to mourn the past, right? So the 8th house does pertain to that mourning and letting go. And you want to do whatever it is that you can to look at your life under this 8th house transit and look and say, okay, well, this is really no longer fulfilling to me anymore, or this is just stupid. Because an object in motion likes to stay in motion, right? So we might be pursuing things that no longer are relevant. So you want to think about your goals, and you want to think about who you need to transform into in order to be a vibrational match to those goals. Like you can't, as they say, you can't feel fat and get thin. You can't feel lonely and then feel connected, right? You want to put the cart before the horse, so to speak, and determine like, oh, okay, well, what feelings would I have if I had this in my life? How would I feel if I had plenty of money, plenty of love, amazing sex, whatever? And then you conjure that up within your body, right? And then you broadcast it. Yes, it will. Yeah, so you get to celebrate. But let's see, Aries, what wisdom from the tarot you can get today for your lunar eclipse. What might be helpful for you to know, Aries, with your 8th house eclipse? What will be helpful for Aries? 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 Ooh, interesting. So you get Justice. This card is actually ruled by Libra, Aries, your opposite sign, and it's a time of balance. The 8th house does have to do with other people's resources and what you get from other people. So it's stuff that you have that you wouldn't have unless there was another person. So that doesn't only mean their money, for instance, like when you get married and there's joint enterprises, right? Community property, etc. But the 8th house also has to do with the other stuff that you get from other people. So say, you're with somebody and they're getting woken up in the middle of the night because they have night tremors. Well, now that's kind of your problem now, right? So the 8th house is really about balance and it's about boundaries. Your Justice card that you got, it's really all about balance and making sure that things are copacetic. Are you giving enough? Is one of the questions that you might want to ask yourself. And then, are you receiving enough? Is there a balance between what you're giving in the relationships in your life in particular and what you're getting back? And you want to just make sure that you balance that. The Justice card also does talk about emotional detachment, right? It's the scales of justice, and justice is blind. So Aries, you may want to be really objective. It's a triple whammy, right? It's a full moon, it's a lunar eclipse, it's in Scorpio, and it's in your 8th house. So that's like a quadruple level of intensity. So you want to practice detachment. That will really be helpful to see things from a detached lens. So keep that in mind, Aries. Taurus. So this lunar eclipse, Taurus, is hitting your 7th. This is actually really nice. I mean, this is a good transit in the sense that you're in a position, Taurus, of choosing the outcome. You get to choose the outcome here. If you want to have war, you can have war. If you want to have peace, you can have peace. But peace is really more likely under this transit for you, especially in terms of a relationship situation. You may decide under this transit, Taurus, that you're going to keep a partner. Maybe you'll release a partner. Maybe you'll snag a new partner. So partnerships are going to be in the forefront. And it's really a matter of looking at what it is that you desire and see if that is copacetic with what the partners in your life desire. And we're not just talking about romantic. Romantic most likely is the most prominent, but also business partners, consultants, long-term relationships like your best friend forever, stuff like that. Legal matters during this time could be an issue, but again, it's an excellent time for resolution to your benefit. Enemies are likely to leave you alone if you tell them to. So peace is at hand with this transit for sure. So you can keep that in mind. If legal matters come up, there should be a harmonious resolution. So that'll be nice. I'm glad you tuned in to Maggie. Yeah. Nice to see you. So let's see, Taurus, what card you get for your lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Some wisdom for Taurus under this 7th house transit. What will be helpful for Taurus to know? What will be helpful for Taurus to know? Taurus to know. What will be helpful for Taurus to know? Hey, this is fantastic, Taurus. It's one of your cards. You got the Empress. Wow. So the Empress is about something new being born. When something new into your life is born and it brings you great joy, the Empress is the vehicle for that something. And this is you, right? Empress energy is Venus energy, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. And I find even though Libra is also ruled by Venus, I find the Empress is very, very, very Taurus. So this is a time for you to really get in touch with your loving, abundant nature. The Empress as an archetype, she's a little bit indulgent. She likes to, lie around naked and eat chocolates. It's not a bad way to spend your time. So be sure over the next 6 months, Taurus, to enjoy your body, allow something new to be born. The Empress is very, very fertile. So if you're looking for a child, or you're a mom, or a dad as well, this is a really great time for your creativity and your creations. So it's a very fertile time, and something new is likely to be born, maybe within your relationship. Maybe something new is going to be coming up there. So the Empress is all about love and abundance. And I think the key takeaway is to make sure your cup overrunneth, right? Because when you're taking care of yourself and you have plenty of energy, then you're not feeling put upon and you're not feeling drained because you have plenty to give. So be sure, as they say, to put your oxygen mask on first, loving yourself and doing whatever it is that you can to feel really fulfilled, because the Empress is really very fulfilled. What are you doing, Murphy's Pool? Dare I ask? I'm just kidding. But I'm glad that may have resonated for you, Murphy's Pool. So let's see here. Gemini. So this lunar eclipse is hitting your 6th. The sun is in your 12th right now, most likely. So this can indicate a time of self-awareness. And it's also, you might be feeling like, oh, geez, this needs to end, right? The 12th house is shining a light. The sun in the 12th right now for you is shining a light on what might need to go bye-bye, right? And it also might be shining a light on your psychological hang-up, stuff like that. And the 6th house transit with this lunar eclipse, it really for you is going to be all about making sure that your body is all tuned up, that your practical life is all taken care of. You want to make sure that you're streamlining your processes. So over the 6 months, what do you want to transpire, and what does that look like? Think of it as a workshop, right? Like, how are you implementing your energy and your day-to-day lifestyle to get the results that you want? I.e., say you're looking to write a book. Well, are you setting aside time every single day to write your book? Do you have, a progress report, so to speak, that you're looking at on a weekly basis to see that you're hitting your marks, right? So think about your goals and utilize this time to come up with a system or a process that really helps. It also is going to be really important for you to focus on your health during this time over the next 6 months. Usually positive developments in terms of health. This could be a time in which something within you is like, okay, I need to definitely start eating more clean, or I need to start exercising, or I need to do a new exercise. You may feel like you're being released. Something's releasing under this time. A new outlet, a new creative outlet, or a new perspective is on the horizon for you, most likely. And you also, the coolest aspect, I think, with the 6th house transit such as this for you, Gemini, is that you may find a new sense of empowerment by helping others. So think about what it is that okay, that makes sense. Is that what you're doing now, Murphy's Pool? That's good if you are. That's good if you are. So yeah, you might find new ways of helping other people based upon your greatest skills, and that could be a lot of fun for you. So let's see, Gemini, what you need to know, or what will be helpful for you to know with your lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Some wisdom for this transit for you. Wisdom for Gemini. Wisdom for Gemini for the lunar eclipse. Gemini. Tarot wisdom for Gemini. Tarot wisdom for Gemini. Ooh, interesting. So, Gemini, you get the Emperor. The previous card that we got was the Empress. So that's the archetypic mom, right? The Emperor is the archetypic dad. So with the Emperor, Gemini, the advice would really be to get your life in complete working order, right? Set your boundaries. Definitely tap into that divine father within. Give yourself rules is essentially the message. If you can give yourself rules, then you're probably not going to need anybody else to give you rules, which is a wonderful thing. So you might want to be a little bit of a hard ass over the next 6 months, especially in matters pertaining to work, health, your habits. It is a lunar eclipse full moon, so with that, you may be releasing a habit that no longer coincides with your overall goals. So this could be reducing sugar intake or cutting out drinking, or I don't know, whatever it is. But you got to be a little bit of a hard ass with the Emperor card. Tap into that divine father and give yourself rules and follow them. Yes, I'm sure it is, lying around naked and eating chocolates. Yes, I'm sure that is. I will take your word for it for sure. So additionally, Cancer, this is a nice little transit for you. 5th house, nice lunar eclipse in your 5th. So you might actually become a lot more social during this transit or over the next 6 months. I mean, it's an extreme, right? We're dealing with Scorpio energy, and Scorpio is a pretty extreme. Case in point, Scorpios are usually considered very sexual, but that's not really the case. They are extremists, right? I mean, they do rule the sexual organs, no doubt about it. But sometimes Scorpios will channel their sexual energy or transmute their sexual energy into projects. But in terms of the sex thing, they can either go be really celibate and chaste, or they can be like rabbits, right? So, Cancer, you might become more involved in social activities. You may find yourself looking for emotional pleasures from creativity or creative projects. And it's a really good time for risk and investment. Again, you want to look at the fine print. We are into Mercury retrograde, so don't risk too much. Don't risk things that you're not willing to joyfully lose, right? Love could blossom for you under this time. You might have a baby. If you're looking to have a baby, the 5th house rules children. Or, if you do have kids, that they might become very a focal point for you over the next 6 months. They may take center stage by perhaps needing you a little bit more. And you're probably going through, if you have children or even your creative projects, there's a certain level of intensity right now and a focus on those creations. And it's a very lucky period, actually. Really lucky period. And the most important thing is to remember that something new is going to be born. Most likely, this could be a child. This could be a new creative project. Yeah, there's quite a bit of potential. Sure is, Regan. Quite a bit of potential. So let's see, Cancer, some wisdom from the tarot that will help you this lunar eclipse. It's hitting your 5th house. What will be helpful for Cancer? What will be helpful for Cancer? No. Cancer, no. What will be helpful for Cancer? No. Pleasure, which makes perfect sense because that's one of the meanings of the 5th house. So a few things with this card. Usually they say the answer to this card or key to this card resides in the past, right? So this could be, well, it's a double whammy for you, Cancer, because you guys are nostalgic anyway. Plus, we're under Mercury retrograde. So this might be friends from the past coming back, lovers from the past coming back. And it could be also about just remembrances of good times and good energies and good feelings, right? So you may want to look at those things from the past that made you feel good before and see how they might surface in the future, especially under Mercury retrograde. So this is a really great time to reunite with people that you had been connected to before, that are no longer in your life, that you may want to rekindle some old relationships. In terms of relationships, though, the 6 of Cups is really nice. It's about the beginning stages of a relationship. And the 6 of Cups warns us, to not commit to anything until completely sure. So in terms of dating and romance, this is about enjoying the simple, innocent pleasures, right? And the simple tokens of love, right? Without putting a ring on it, so to speak. So don't commit to anything until certain, and enjoy the initial stages of love, or even the initial stages of friendship, and let let old people come back in if you feel as if they could be of value to you. Really great card. Aleister Crowley said that the Six of Cups was one of the best cards in the pack, he had said. So enjoy that for sure. Leo, this is going to be a wonderful eclipse for you. This is going to be a great time. So with Leo, it's hitting your fourth. The fourth house has to do with feeling at home within the self. It's all about feeling yummy and emotionally secure and really at home within. And that is why, this transit usually pertains to your actual home. This is a time for you to really connect with that divine mother, a really great time to really nurture yourself. You might find that over the next 6 months, you want to make some changes to your home. This could be a new home. This could be redecorating your home. This could be making your home more comfortable. Usually we want to reconstruct the whole concept of home on some level, meaning, okay, well, what is it that makes you feel at home? Has that changed? That might likely change over the next 6 months. You may find that, oh, geez, I find myself, whenever I watch Perry Mason, I feel amazing afterwards. For whatever reason, whenever I watch that show, I feel really great. Hey, well, that's a fourth house thing for sure. It's a familiar routine that you might have. And if it's not watching Perry Mason, or maybe it's exercising, or maybe it's knitting, or maybe it's crocheting or painting or writing, but find those things that you can do that create a certain level of familiarity in your life. And that's going to help you to feel more at home within the self. You may also, under this transit, find a need to really balance your public life with your private life. Maybe you've been working too hard and you've been more focused on your public persona, when really you need to focus on domestic tasks or your personal life or your family. And there's no need to really sacrifice one for the other. You can have it all, right? In fact, it really is absolutely important to balance both, right? I mean, balance meaning you want to feel at home within the self in order to flourish professionally. You may experience childhood memories under this transit, Leo. The fourth house has to do with home and family. It's a very sensitive area of your chart. It's very, very sensitive. What else is there with this? Yeah, so it's your foundation. You're creating a new foundation for yourself, Leo. And with that emotional foundation, you can do anything. And it's going to help your career. Because if your professional life is really based upon whether or not people trust you, right? That's what status is, or success in business is. It's about people trusting you. And the easiest way for you to become trusted by the public is to trust yourself. So this is a great time for you to establish stronger self-trust and healing for yourself, so you can go really high and you can climb and you still have that level of unconditional love, right? So tap into the Divine Mother during this period, Leo. Let's see what wisdom from the tarot you get for your lunar eclipse. Wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo. Wow, how awesome is this? Queen of Wands, and the queens in the tarot are ruled by the fixed signs, and the wands are fire, and fixed fire is Leo. So how apropos. So the Queen of Wands is about inner confidence, right? It's a queen, right? So typically, even if you're a guy, this is a more passive aspect of your personality or a more internal one. So you want to do whatever you can to really tune up within yourself that sense of confidence. What do you need to look at, right? Because whatever we focus on grows within ourselves. So what aspects of yourself can you focus on that can grow, that are going to result in a stronger sense of internal confidence? What's going to make you feel internally confident? And that doesn't necessarily mean you need to show it off necessarily. It's really all about over the next 6 months for you with the Queen of Wands to really develop that sense of inner confidence. So you don't need external validation. And that's going to give you the opportunity to really express yourself. So Queen of Wands is a really, really nice card for you. Shinn, I'm glad that this Tarotscope you didn't get 10 of Swords. Leo, for my last few Tarotscopes, whatever, I think it may have been the last 2, they kept getting 10 of Swords, which we looked at as the end of a problem when it could not get much worse. Usually the 10 of Swords is like bottoming out, like it's overkill, right? It's sort of like, perhaps taking a victim role and whatnot, but it looks like that's beyond you. So that's beyond you. Hey, Carlin, I'll do this for you later for sure, but I don't want to I don't need Candace Owens' energy on this stream. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm having a great day. I don't need Candace Owens in it. No offense to Candace or her fans, but let me get back to you after this, okay? And we'll see. All right. So yes, Shinn, you got the Queen of Wands. Yeah, she's very queenly for sure. And what is that? With strength and the star, yes. So do enjoy for sure. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't get 10 of Swords either. Definitely. We don't want Candace here. Yeah, that's okay. Well, I'll check on Candace for you later. Anyway. Alrighty. So we also have Virgo. So Virgo, let's look at this. Virgo. All right. So Virgo, you're having a 3rd house transit. This is nice, Virgo. You love learning. It's all about your mindset, your learning, your socializing. And it's going to be really, they call this the eclipse of wisdom and knowledge given and received, which is pretty cool. And this transit for you, for sure. The big thing with the 3rd house is that you might need to learn something new over the next 6 months. You might be going through some kind of like training, and you might decide that you want to learn something new in order to go to that next level to expand and grow. So education could be calling your name, Virgo. You also, the 3rd house rules everything. It's like, it's like everything but the kitchen sink, right? It rules siblings and neighbors and your neighborhood and education and learning and mindset, right? So it's a lot. A sibling or neighbor may have an emotional pull during this time. There might be some kind of closure with them. It also might be a time of learning the importance of education. And that doesn't mean going to school necessarily. It could mean reading more. It could mean listening to people more. And you also, under a 3rd house transit, the 3rd house also rules the places where you go to on a regular basis. So think of it, 3rd house, like your neighborhood. Say you're okay. Well, this is running errands day. I'm going to go to the market, and then I'm going to go to pick up my dry cleaning, and then I'm going to stop by a friend's house, right? Your scene may change. So you might be going to a different coffee shop, or you might go to a different dry cleaners, stuff like that. So let's see, Virgo, some wisdom for you for your lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse for Virgo, your third house. Lunar eclipse, third house for Virgo. What's some wisdom for Virgo? Oh, lo and behold, the Tower. So Virgo, the Tower is a healing card, and Scorpio is very, very big on healing. Scorpios, actually, their presence can be a physical healing. Just being around them can be very healing. So with the Tower, what we're talking about is the breakdown of things that were false, right? It goes back to the biblical story, the Tower of Babel, when these men were so arrogant that they thought they were going to build a tower and be bigger than God. And then God got upset. He was not pleased one bit. And with a bolt of lightning, he struck the tower, and everybody kept speaking in tongues, and it was bedlam. But in the tower collapsing, we're able to build our lives on a strong foundation of truth, right? And on new values. That really might be what that's all about. This eclipse does feature the moon opposing Uranus in Taurus. So with Uranus and the sun right now in such close proximity, and with that opposition, we could also very much have like a crisis of values, meaning you might be involved in stuff and you're like, this is no longer relevant. Like, this isn't me, right? So with the Tower card over the next 6 months, it's a matter of getting rid of things that are just no longer relevant to you, right? And it might be about creating a new structure in your life, right? Especially with your third house. So maybe this is a dramatic learning program that you're going under, or maybe it's a matter of you're completely changing your social scene, right? But certain things are definitely that are no longer working for you are falling away. So enjoy that for sure, Virgo. Libra, this is a nice transit for you. Let's see here. Yes, Murphy's Pool, Uranus. I said it. It's true. So Libra, your second house is being activated by this lunar eclipse. That's kind of cool. So your second house transit for you is all going to be about your self-worth, right? You might find yourself discovering a need that you want to receive something specifically from somebody else. You're like, you know what? I want this from this person. This is a really great time for you to determine your sense of self-security. How can you be independent? How can you enhance your life with even possessions or more money, right? This could be about a nice release of, say, certain things in your job that you don't really like to do anymore, right? Or it could be a matter of releasing anything that undermines your sense of self-worth, right? So your values during this time might change, and it's a matter of what was important to you before is no longer. Your code of ethics may change as well. You might decide, like, I don't feel really good about doing this anymore. I want to do this, right? Really, at the end of the day, the second house transit is all about feeling good in your body, feeling as if you can express yourself and your talents and your abilities. So in a lot of ways, the second house lunar eclipse may pertain to you just being like, I need to express this aspect of my personality. And when you express yourself more and you utilize your talents and skills, you make more money. Talent in biblical times was actually a unit of measurement. So you would give like 2 talents to get this back in return. And nowadays we use our talents or our skills and abilities to make talent or make money. So this could be a wonderful time for you, Libra, to let go of something that might be undermining your finances or implementing something new, right? That's going to make you more money. That could be nice. So let's see here, Libra, what you need to know, what's some wisdom for you for your lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Whew, a card just fell. Hold on. And it's not a card you want to see. You don't want to see what that card was. I'm going to keep it secret. Libra. What does Libra need to know? Ah, very nice. So 3 of Cups. Merrymaking. You're going to have lots of merrymaking, Libra, which is really nice. Maybe in light of your second house transit, you're really realizing that you like to have fun, that you like to celebrate, that you like to socialize, that you like to laugh, that you like people coming together. And the 3 of Cups, because we're dealing with cups here, it's about emotions, and the 3s have to do with the group. So what groups can you implement into your life that are going to help you to increase your sense of fulfillment, right? So think of that. This is also a card in light of your second house. It's about abundance, right? The second house is about money. So you want to realize that it's an abundant universe. There's an outrageous amount of money. And you can listen to the fear porn and how we're under a recession and everything's gone to hell in a handbasket. But there are some people that flourish in any economy. Why not decide to be one of those people? Why not decide that you're an abundant person? And when you make that decision that you're an abundant person and you trust that decision and you act like you trust that decision, well, then it's going to become an apparency and you're going to have more abundance. So definitely consider what groups you can be around that are going to fulfill you emotionally. And therefore, it's going to help you to have your cup overrunneth. And then, your finances too will be plenty. So that'll be really nice. Let's see what else is here. Oh, really? Your niece, a cousin, and a lovely friend of yours are all Virgos. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, Virgos are really, really cool people. They're very caring and extremely helpful. And Scorpio. Well, Scorpio rising. This is a big deal. This is a big deal for you with this first house transit. It's hitting your identity, your personality, your image. So it's really about yourself. It's about your personality, and your personality creates your personal reality. So because it's a first house transit, Scorpio, you might have your emotions on your sleeve. You might be feeling even particularly raw, more than usual. Because it's a first house transit and it's in your sign, there's a need to balance. So one rule of thumb that's really nice is to every relationship you're in, you have 50% responsibility for that relationship, every single one. So you got to look at that, right? If something's not going well in your relationship, are you taking 50% of your responsibility, right, for that relationship? And also, because this is a lunar eclipse in your sign, it's really emotional. And Mercury is retrograde, so you don't want to go ballistic. And you don't want to assert what you want unless you know what you want. This is a time in which your personality is going through major changes. I think that it would be wise to err on the side of caution and not assert yourself unconditionally until you have an opportunity to really do some soul searching and to find out what it is that you're really looking for. That'll be really helpful to you. Also, the first house does have to do with your appearance and your personality and your appearance. So this might be a time in which you decide that you're going to change up your style or how you present yourself. Maybe, I know some Scorpios are like, I got to stop swearing. Well, maybe you develop a personality in which you're not swearing and you're, start implementing, oh, fudge, or oh, shoot. That could be. Or it could be actually your physical presentation. You might decide to get a new wardrobe, right? Or refresh your wardrobe, or change your hair, or just change something about your personality. Because when you change your personality, you change your personal reality, which you love to do, Scorpio, right? So let's just see what card you get for your lunar eclipse in your sign, Scorpio. Some guidance for you with wisdom from the tarot. Guidance for Scorpio. Okay. Well, this goes along with what we had said. Two of Swords. So Two of Swords is really all about making decisions without the interference of the emotions. An example. Say you wake up in the morning and you realize that your refrigerator door had been open all night long and you don't have any milk and you love milk in the morning. And then you go outside to your car and you have a flat tire and then you spill coffee all over your shirt. And then you have a meeting. You have a big important presentation and you're already late for it and you don't even have your notes with you. That's an instance of having the Two of Swords the situation. Yes, you're really, really upset and everything went south today, but you need to put your emotions aside and carry on as best as you can. So Two of Swords is about being somewhat stoic and detaching, right? So that's a really good rule of thumb because this is a very, very powerful transit for everyone, but particularly you because it's in your sign or hitting your first house. So Two of Swords is a good rule of thumb because you want to make decisions without the interference of the emotions because you might not be seeing things clearly right now. So as we had said before, we can't really unring a bell. So you want to gather intel. You want to have an outlet for your emotions. I'm not asking you to keep it inside, but I'm saying with the Two of Swords, let peace be your watchword and allow yourself to put on hold anything that might be volatile for as long as you can. If you have to have a conflict with somebody, try to be disimpassioned about it a little bit. Again, my concern with Scorpios under this transit is them going scorched earth, asserting something, and then them realizing after the retrograde, well, geez, I probably shouldn't have asserted this, right? Or I probably shouldn't have gone off. So make decisions without the interference of the emotions and enjoy your transit. Take good care of yourself during this transit. That's mine too. Goodness. Sometimes I even say, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Yeah. In any case. Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, you are going through a 12th house transit. So we're talking about what's going on in your subconscious, what old patterns need to be released, and what needs to end. So this is a time when you need to turn inward, Sagittarius, and feed your soul. Find out what makes you feel just really, really alive and yummy on the inside. An issue with the 12th house transit, you may find that people come to you in droves. People might be really attracted to you and they might be telling you their concerns and their feelings, right? Because you have more empathy. But set your boundaries, Sagittarius. Not that I have to tell you to do that. You're pretty good at it usually. But get your extra rest, solitude, creative time, anything that allows you to process. So like when we're working, for instance, when we're in the zone, we're able to let things resolve themselves on a subconscious level. So say you're focusing on a project or you're sleeping or you're just enjoying yourself and otherwise distracted. Well, your concerns or problems are on the back burner and they will work themselves out. So let things work out on a subconscious level. Also, you want to listen to your body's physical and emotional cues. Your body does not lie. So if you have a pain or an ache, do what you can to listen to your body and determine what is your body trying to tell you. If you have a pain in the past, is there a pain in your back? Is there something from the past that's problematic? Or if you have a neck issue, are you seeing both sides of a problem? Again, the body cannot lie. So listen to your body and also honor your body during this period. Eat right, get your exercise, stuff like that. For your 12th house transit, it's definitely just a time to hibernate, unplug the phone, shut off the phone, unplug the phone. Let's see, put on your records. Let's see, Sagittarius, what wisdom you get for your lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Wisdom for Sagittarius. Queen of Wands. You got Queen of Wands too. I like this. Leo, your sister fire sign or brother sister's fire sign. Bye, Murphy's Pool. Oh, bye, Murphy's Pool. Nice to see you today. Have fun lying around naked eating chocolates. Anyway, yeah. Sagittarius, you got Queen of Wands. So this is about you developing an inner confidence, right? This is your inner confidence. This isn't you necessarily showing people how confident you are, although that might surface. But because it's a 12th house transit, it's time to really go inward and really do what you can to tune things up on the inside. Like, how do you perceive yourself and what can you do to cultivate that inner sense of confidence? So you're doing what you can to enhance your inner beliefs and philosophy about what you want to do and how you can do it. So it's a time of really going inward and doing whatever you can to tune things up and really listen to yourself, and also perhaps do things behind the scenes that are going to make you feel more confident. This could be about studying alone or doing reading or taking a class, but listening your inner self during this period for sure, and develop that inner sense of confidence. And Capricorn, well, Capricorn, you have a very social transit coming up for you with this 11th house. There may be this emotional need you have to really follow your dreams and be around friends. I mean, the cool thing with an 11th house transit, your North Star might be really, really, really bright. Yo, Jennifer, nice to see you, and you're right in time for your Capricorn horoscope or Tarotscope, both. So yeah, the 11th house has to do with your hopes, dreams, wishes, and goals. And with the lunar eclipse there, especially in Scorpio, you might have a real clear idea of like, this is what I want to do. This is the dream. This would make me really, really happy. So your North Star, what, you're going toward, that might be really lit. You might really get an idea of like what you want for your hopes, dreams, wishes, and your ideals. And at the same time, your friendships may adapt based on your goals. So say you have friends that are focused on, I'm just using this as an example, but say you were involved in an exercise class for a very long time, but now you're really interested in writing a book. Well, you might change your exercise class for a writing class, stuff like that. So your friendships may change based on your goals. You may also have a desire to join an organization during this time. And, you are a Capricorn, so you may decide to step up to leadership roles in such an organization. Oh, well, that's perfect. Perfect. So there we go. There we go. That's what you want. That's going to happen then. Make that decision, right? So let's see, Capricorn, what wisdom you get for your 11th house lunar eclipse. Wisdom for Capricorn, lunar eclipse. So, like, I have to tell you this, Capricorn. You get 4 of Pentacles. So this is about power. It's also about holding on to what you have, right? Holding on to what you got is a big aspect of the 4 of Pentacles. But the other side of this is don't hold on too tightly to what you own, or it owns you. So For instance, Jennifer, okay, you have a book coming out. We'll say you have an editor for that book. Don't be, who was it that said don't kill your kill your darlings? I think that was Flannery O'Connor, right? So with the Four of Pentacles, it might be a matter of you don't want to hold on too tightly. Don't be too stubborn. At the same time, know your limits, right? And it's also about doing whatever you can to get your whole life secure, get everything running in complete working order. So Four of Pentacles is a really good card. It actually is ruled by Capricorn. It's Sun in Capricorn. So it's all about making sure you know your power, but also because we're dealing with Scorpio energy, look at the power in vulnerability and look at the power of letting go. And also look at the power of being flexible, right? Because that's an issue with Four of Pentacles. We can be too stubborn. So keep that in mind, Capricorn. Aquarius. Well, Aquarius, you get a 10th house transit. Exactly. And also hold on to what you have too. Definitely know your limits and do what you can to secure your base, your foundation. So, Aquarius, you got a career transit going on. 10th house has to do with your career, your status, your contribution to humanity. You may feel like your spotlight is on you, right? There might be a sense of public scrutiny, like, VIPs are looking at you, which could be good or bad. So if you have a job, for instance, in which, you have bosses, you might want to take less breaks or take your breaks when the boss isn't around, right? You may want to make sure that you dress a little bit more nicely. You might want to present yourself in a more professional manner over the next 6 months. The 10th house has to do with power, so there may be a new sheriff in town. You might have a sense of, oh, the status quo is now changing, and it looks like it could change in your favor because it is in your 10th house. It really is about being your own authority and really also giving yourself rules, tapping into that divine father energy and doing what you can to make sure that you're on track with your goals, right? And your career especially. There is an emphasis on family and career for you and how you can balance both. And you're probably going to be making a decision about what you want to contribute to society. And you might be sort of like, this is what I want to do, or this is what I don't want to do, right? It is a lunar eclipse. So with the lunar eclipse in your 10th Aquarius, there might be some stuff that you just sort of like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do this. So you might be letting certain things that have inspired you before, you might be letting those things fall away, which is fine. Let's see. So let's see, Aquarius, what you get for wisdom, the tarot for your lunar eclipse in Scorpio, your 10th house. Wisdom for Aquarius. And you get the Empress too, Aquarius. This is nice. So whenever something new into your life enters and it brings you joy, the Empress is the vehicle for that something. So this is a really nice card for you. Something new is going to be born. The Empress is very, very abundant, right? So allowing yourself to take care of yourself, especially, is going to be really, really helpful because that's going to help you to take care of other people. It also is a matter of allowing yourself to let the new emerge. The Empress is really very fertile, and whatever is inside of her comes out. So I think the important thing to remember too with the Empress is that you want to make sure you have an outlet for all of your feelings, right? This is an intense transit. It's in Scorpio. So you want to have an outlet for your feelings so you're not keeping things inside, but at the same time, again, you're going through a 10th house transit, so you have to mind your P's and Q's. You can't, flip out at work or anything like that. The Empress is also about looking for those new opportunities, especially professionally. There's a lot of abundance around your career now. So do what you can to let something new be born, and also make sure that you're nurturing that which really has heart and meaning. Like, what aspects of your career do you love the most, and how can you nurture that like the Empress would nurture her children, if that makes sense. And then last but never least, Pisces. Pisces, this is a ninth house transit for you. So in a lot of respects, it might be about taking a leap of faith, right? What can you do to see more of the world, learn more of the world? There's a sense of needing to really expand when you're having a ninth house transit. Like, how can you grow emotionally, intellectually, especially? So it's all about expansion. You might find yourself being more aware of a new culture, and that's not necessarily a foreign culture, although it could be. It could be the culture of people who work in this field. Maybe you work in medicine, right? And you're getting acquainted with the culture of doctors and nurses, or maybe you're in tech and you're getting involved in the culture of technicians and IT people, etc. But overall, Pisces, there's a really strong desire for you to learn, to grow, to see more of the world and experience more of the world, and allowing the world to experience more of you. Because it's a lunar eclipse, there is a release energy here. So release that which does not promote growth. If something is stalling your progress or making you regress, you want to let it go. More wisdom you're going to experience over the next 6 months, and that's going to allow your values to shift. So you have a shift in values based upon your wisdom. So you're essentially, Pisces, on a ninth house transit, you're going beyond your stretch. You're evolving. You're wiser now. You're seeing things from a broader perspective. You're probably not sweating the small stuff. And you're also looking at the world through a big picture lens. How do you want to experience the world? What do you want to experience the world? And most important, how do you want the world to experience you? So let's see, Pisces, what wisdom you get for your lunar eclipse Tarotscopes. Wisdom for Pisces. Wisdom for Pisces. Ooh, Pisces. How apropos. Because the Wheel of Fortune is ruled by Jupiter, and the ninth house has ties to Jupiter as well. Because it's ruled by Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is connected to the ninth house. So this is really nice. So there's a sense of destiny. You might have a sense of destiny coming to you, Pisces. You might be like, oh boy, here's an opportunity. I get to go on this trip, and I've always wanted to go on this trip to see this foreign land. Or this is an opportunity to get my book published, or to get on a big show or something like that. Because the ninth house also has to do with broadcast and publishing, large-scale projects and opportunities. So with the Wheel of Fortune, you know, what you want to do when you have the Wheel of Fortune, you want to stay centered at the hub of the wheel. You don't want to be in the wheel, which is what most of us do, being tossed around by the fortune of, you know, the swings and the roundabouts, the ups and downs of life. Like, that's how most of us do, right? But if you're at the hub of the wheel, you can be like, okay, well, this is a season which my luck is not strong. All right, so I'm going to sit back. Or this is a season in which, oh shoot, look, there's an opportunity. Then you jump on the wheel. Right? So stay centered at the hub of the wheel, looking at what's going on. And if you see an opportunity, jump at it. And if you see as if now might be a time in which your luck is not really strong, well, take a step back because the tide will turn. So Wheel of Fortune's a great card. Look for opportunities for expansion and growth because most likely they're going to be there. Yeah. So thank you all so much for joining me today for your full moon lunar eclipse Tarotscopes in Scorpio. I do appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Also, those who joined yesterday for the Astrology of Crime, we covered Martha Moxley, which is a fascinating case. So you can catch the replay of that if you haven't. And we're going to actually have another episode of the Astrology of Crime next week, next Thursday. And we're going to be dealing with Dr. Jeffrey McDonald, I believe, Pervert Quest, the most litigated case in history. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then on Monday, of course, this coming Monday, we will be having, and I believe that's May 1st, of course, every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, we have This Week Astrology. So that's to come as well. So I hope to see you for that too. So have a wonderful, oh, hey, Sonia, nice to see you. I hadn't seen you before. Nice to see you. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Enjoy it and do whatever you can to make the most of this wonderful lunar eclipse that we have next week. And oh yeah, of course, if you want a reading or coaching, parties, etc., the link to that is in the description below. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and I shall see you soon. Bye. He's probably going to be late. Oh my God. Did I not end it?